Madam Olubumi is in class. This is interesting. This is the madam that ran away from class. That's go join. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep. Oga Muhammad, we can hear you well. Alpha. Interesting. You have a full house today. Madam Olubumi, let me hear your voice now. You cannot be in class and still be holding your voice.
Good evening, sir.
You're now talking. Good evening. Oh yeah, tell me 500 reasons why you deprived us of your companionship. Madam Olubumi, welcome back to class.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so what's the proof that you've been watching videos for the classes you missed?
Okay, I only watched I didn't watch the last one, but I watched the second to the last and others.
Any others? If it's only 2 you missed now.
No, as in the ones before the last 2 I missed.
Okay, so the 2 classes you didn't come to class, you not watch videos for them.
I watched for one, the one before the last.
Which one did you watch? You tell us.
They talked about visual teams.
Visual team. What does that mean?
Yeah, you talked about team skill appraiser.
Okay. Team appraisal. Okay.
Yeah, team skill appraiser.
Okay.
Where they talked about the team preference, the things that can help better identify skills.
Okay.
The team appraisers, the aspiration, preferences. That's team preferences.
Okay. Okay.
I also read about pre-assignment tools.
Okay.
That's the tools and techniques that support skill appraisals.
Okay.
Like the attitudinal surveys.
Okay. What else?
Structured interviews.
Okay.
Focus groups.
Okay.
I also read about diversity and inclusion. It's about the global scope.
Okay. Okay.
For team deliverables.
Interesting. All right. Thank you very much, Madam Olubumi. Thank you very much. Oga Mohammed, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
You are sounding far from us. Why?
Okay, what about now?
It's attempting to get better. Okay, so Mr. Mohammed, what is proof that you are in the last class? Oh yeah, quickly. Tell us one thing you learned from the last class.
Okay. Last class, I was able to understand the concept of building an high-performing team, and we talk about all the enablers under that.
Under what?
Building a high-performing team.
Okay. So what specific thing are you referring to now? Oh yeah, quickly.
Okay, let me go back to
Oga Muhammad,
talking
you
about
read.
I watch video.
Oh yeah.
So we talk about
tell us.
Talk about setting of ground rules. We talk about team
We
charter.
didn't talk of setting ground rules last week. We didn't talk of setting ground rules in the last class. Last class or setting ground rules. Oga Muhammad Kawe.
I watched.
Okay. Yes, I can see that. Okay. Madam Oluwaseyi, Mr. Muhammad will come back to you. Madam Oluwaseyi, are you with us? Madam Oluwaseyi, are you
Good
there?
Evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
How una day, ma'am?
Fine, sir. Good evening, everybody.
Yes, first of all, remind us, which tasks did we discuss last class?
Which what?
Which topics, which tasks did you discuss last class?
Last class, we did two. We talked about negotiating project agreements and empowering. We started empowering team members and stakeholders too.
Okay. So what did you take out of the class?
Well, so it's on, negotiating project agreements. So we said, is it third topic after building a team and defining team ground rules. This allows every project team member to have, how do I put it? First of all, the same view about the project and their parts in making it happen. So an agreement is reached as to objectives and how the objectives will be delivered. Some of the deliverables of this topic, we talked about service level agreements that you called SLA.
Yeah.
We talked about performance reports. We talked about resource calendars. And something about blackouts, go live blackouts.
Correct. Thank you very much, Madam Oluwaseyi. Okay, so Mr. Muhammad, we are back to you now. At least she has thrown in some keywords that should trigger one or two memories. Is Mr. Muhammad there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I prove that you are there.
As you was talking, I was actually looking for my manual, and I don't know why this happens.
You don't know why?
I'm trying to look for my manual, but I don't know what happened to this iCloud settings. So I cannot even see the manual itself.
What's it concern iCloud with your manual?
As in, on this my Apple laptop, it's like somebody tamper with my settings. I can't find my download folder again. Oh.
Oh God. So Galoro Kosha, summarily, you cannot tell us what you learned last class.
I remember, but opening that one man now would have complemented the effort. I remember what I learned. We talk about resource calendar.
Okay.
We talk about service level agreements.
Okay.
And the importance. And in fact, I spent more than 20 minutes talking about the service level agreement and why it is important, and the importance of communicating it, so that we don't start the project. That even if we should make sure as much as possible we have an agreement, even if the sponsor does not give us something in written, we can convert what you verbalize into written and give the person to sign as much as possible so that you don't end up having issue. And why it is very important is to avoid things like scope creep and a lot too much of variation that is not considered. So those are, and during the discussion, we realized that even things like SLA, the way the table is structured, is similar to what we have before when we talk about ITTO, because SLA is part of what you are going to work on when working on the project. But now we don't use ITTO again. We now have delivery. We now have a table. Under that table, we have deliverables. Then we have SLA under it. We have resource calendar and other stuff. But if I see my manual now, I'll be able to connect the dots better.
Okay.
Recording for the last class. So.
You said what?
I saw the recording. I downloaded it. Only I never opened them. Let's continue.
I was shoot you knee.
I was watching the other recordings on LMS.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, welcome everybody to today's class. We will be running from where we stopped. Where did we stop? We stopped at the fourth topic under this lesson. Mr. Mohammed, remind us, what is the name of the lesson we are still discussing?
Building an high-performing team.
Correct. We are currently discussing creating a high-performing team. Okay. And under this, we have discussed topic A, building a team. We have discussed topic B, defining team ground rules. We have discussed topic C, negotiating project agreements. We have discussed topic D, empower team members and stakeholders. By God's grace, today we will discuss topic EFG, train team members and stakeholders, engage and support virtual teams, build shared understanding of a project. So those are the three things we would be discussing extensively today. Okay. So, as usual, Madam Olubumi, can you help us with these enablers quickly, please?
Determine required competencies.
First of all, what is the task you are discussing at the moment? What's the topic?
It's train team members and stakeholders.
Beautiful. Yeah, please proceed.
Determine required competencies and elements of training.
Okay.
Determine training options based on training needs.
Okay.
Allocate resources for training.
Okay.
Ensure training occurs.
Okay.
Measure training outcomes.
Interesting. Now go back to the beginning and one by one justify how those enablers are linked to the task or to the topic. As in, justify why they are enablers. How are they actually enablers and how do they perform their role as being enablers?
I don't understand what you're saying, sir.
Okay, I'm coming. Madam Oluwase, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Please, can you give us an example? Pick enabler number one and explain how we normally explain it.
Okay, so determine enabler number one is determine required competencies and elements of training. So how does this enabler link to or feed into training team members and stakeholders? So the first step is to, first of all, determine the knowledge gaps and what is required to be able to carry out the work of the project. So what are the competencies that are required to do the project work, and then measure the resources by that and see if there are gaps. So that explains determining required competencies. What do we need to accomplish the project work, and elements of training.
Thank you very much. So what she has just done now is that for every enabler, we don't want to just take it from PMI to say because PMI said it's an enabler, we just cram it as an enabler. No. We ask ourselves that critical question. The topic says train team members and stakeholders. Train team members and stakeholders. Okay, what do we need when we want to train team members and stakeholders? What can we regard as things that will help us in training team members and stakeholders? What exactly can we regard as steps in the direction of training team members and stakeholders? So, Madam Olubumi, would you regard determining required competencies and elements of training as one of the steps in the direction of training team members and stakeholders?
Yes.
Explain how. That's the question I just asked you. How?
Yeah, because in carrying out any task, and for the team members that are to carry out those tasks, you need to first of all find out their competency on that task, and the elements that are needed for you to train them so that they can be able to carry out their task. I don't know.
So does that aid in achieving
or be able to achieve? Yeah.
So remind me again, what is the task at hand? What's the topic we are discussing?
The topic we are discussing now is train team members and stakeholders.
So the enabler you just read out now, do you agree that it is a step in the direction of that task?
Yes, it is.
We have move on to the second enabler and justify for us.
Okay, the second enabler says determine training options based on training needs. See, boils down to the competencies that we are talking about. You know, where after getting to know the things that are required for the team members to carry out their duties, as in the task, we need to train them based on their needs.
Okay.
And we also need to find out the training options that are needed for the training.
What do you mean by training options? What do you mean?
Training options in the sense that I don't know if I can use the word, maybe methods or ways. I don't know.
Yeah, methods, ways. Maybe you can even think of training options as training, the available trainings.
Okay.
Are we going with training company A? Are we going with training company B? Which training company actually offers the trainings of the need for my team? Okay, my team need is specialized training on communication for excellence in virtual teams. Okay, what are the training options? Who can render this service? Who are those who can be able to get this thing done? So that's enabler number 2. Proceed to enabler number 3.
Number 3, allocate resources for training.
Okay.
So there, I think that's maybe the funding that is needed for the training to be a success.
When you say resources, funding resources.
It does not necessarily mean funding. It's not like it's funding alone that is needed for training. Well, before you can get those resources too, funding is key.
What I was expecting you to say is funding and other material resources, logistics, and other needed things. That's better. Next, please.
Ensure training occurs. Okay, I think this enabler, because at times the project manager may organize training. The team member may not be interested in that training and may not want to be part of it. But the training manager will ensure that everybody takes part in whatever training that is organized. I don't know if I'm correct.
You see, looking at this list of enablers, there is a very important lesson for you and I. And it is the fact that this list of enablers, they are like a cheat sheet or a marking scheme or a list of recommendations that you use when you are working on trainings for your team, when you are working on trainings for stakeholders. I am fully aware of several initiatives, especially of the government, to train their workers. And these initiatives fail woefully. In fact, Madam Olubumi, will you believe that one of my friends or Egbon's company that was contracted to train the staff of a government establishment, they actually got the venue. It was supposed to be a week training. Those people came for day one of the training. And then at the end of day one, they called the trainer to say, hey, balance owó kọjọ pín. Madam Olubumi, have you ever thought that such nonsense can happen?
Yeah, it can happen in Nigeria.
It's bad. Oga Toyajani, you dey laugh. It's sad. It's sad.
I know.
Very sad. And many other funny things. Are you aware that in the government of today, if you are sent on training, apart from government paying for your training, they give you money. Are you aware?
Yeah.
They give you extra code everything in the column. They will pay for your logistics, flight fees, hotel fees, and on top of that, they give you extra code per day. And yet, people collect this money and they will not go for training. At least the one you hear in the news, and even if you don't know of those other staff of establishments collecting money for training, you must have heard in the news of some government agencies sponsoring lawmakers to go for international conferences, and then they collect the money and they don't go. But I will look at you, they listen to news. I don't know if you've had one of such instances in the news. So, what we are saying here essentially is that this list of enablers is a solid guide for any HR department to tighten the noose on their trainings. Tighten the noose on their trainings. It's not just, it is not enough for you to say, fine, you have paid for training. That's just step one out of maybe 5 steps. So, not just that. In fact, another thing I even want to add now is, you find situations in which organizations misprioritize trainings. They come up with training topics that are relevant but not the most important at the moment. that are relevant but are not the highest priority at the moment. And that is the reason why, if you look at these enablers, one of them is telling you that sending more people for training is not the first thing you do. Before you even send people for training, you need to do a skills assessment. You need to do a needs assessment to know what exactly are the areas of need. And then one thing is to know the areas of need. Then the next thing is to rank them in order of importance, relevance, priority. So you now rank them and put it in phases. Okay, these are the ones we want team A to go and do now. By quarter 2, team A can now go and do the second one. By quarter 3, they can now go and do another one. So once you have been able to identify your training need, then the next thing is to now see, okay, who are those who can offer the trainings that we need. You see, the reality is that in the real world, a lot of times, these things are not done this way. Most of the time, the company already has 1 or 2 training partners. Mr. Toya Jani, I'm sure you will understand what I'm saying very well. You find the cases in which you have some training, a company already has some training partners, and they are looking for trainings that their staff will do from the list of available trainings that the company offers. Not that they are generating their need at the moment and looking out for people who offer those services. You get that kind of, this thing happens a lot though. These are real issues.
Yes, unconsciously.
Exactly. These are real issues. So one of the benefits of being in this training here right now is that, but that's what I'm saying, this is common sense now, Abi. Madam Olubumi, have we said something that is out of common sense? This is just
Not
common
at all.
sense.
Not at all, sir.
It's common sense now. But then why are these things usually not done this way? Why are these things usually not done this way?
It's only in Nigeria you find things like that not happening.
Interesting.
It's not only in Nigeria.
Tell us, what do you mean?
Okay, I remember we had a partner in Morocco and South Africa.
We can't hear you again, no?
We had a partner. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
In Morocco and South Africa.
Okay.
So whenever they want to come to Nigeria to come and party, like they just want to come and have fun. So they will force people to come and do training. They will not do the training, no. They will not attend training, no. They will just come to Nigeria to come and play. The same thing our people do too. Whenever they want to catch one in Morocco or South Africa, they will just, Jeremy can come and give them a proposal. They will say, okay, Jem, why should we be doing this training in Ibadan? Can't you arrange something and give us how can you say collecting 500K per person? Africa. So everybody will go to South Africa. The same thing, when you get to South Africa, the other guys there too will do the same thing. They want to come to Nigeria to come and have fun. So when it's their turn, they will do the same thing. So please, it's not only Nigerians that are doing this.
But it's only in Africa. You have said
Don't worry.
Only Africa.
Don't worry. It's only Africa.
Only in Africa.
Don't worry. When I see my case outside Africa, I will tell you.
You see, well, any organization, either private or publicly owned, that lacks a proper system for doing that last number, ECO 1.5.4, there will always be mess. There would always be mess measuring training outcomes.
Yeah.
There will always be mess. So it's not just about training for training's sake. There's so much of nonsense going on today when organizations train for training's sake. In fact, let me even shock you, Mr. Ajani. Let me shock you that even this PMP training that we are doing, when companies send people to come and do the training, such that that person is not paying personally, it reflects in the person's attitude to the training.
Mm.
You get my point? In fact, let me think of my head. Since I have started, I can't think of any time in which anybody that was sent by a company to come and do this training has gone ahead to write the PMP exam. I can't think of one case. I can't think of one case. I might be wrong, Sha. Maybe they've written that they did not tell me, but I can't think of one case. So it's very important that we rejig our attitude towards training, rejig our attitude towards facility and capacity enhancement. When you, number one, 3 important lessons I want us to take out of this discussion. Number one, always handle facility enhancement, capacity enhancement from inside out, not from outside in. Not from, you have a friend's company that does trainings and then you say, send me your list of trainings, and then you want to select. Start from inside. Do a skills analysis. Do an overview of what you should be doing and how it should be done. And do a review of how is it being done and how are they doing it. And identify the gap. What skill sets do you think that if some of these people in the organization have these skills, they will be able to achieve the dream level of performance, the dream level of operational excellence. So from that, then you now go and look for those who offer that kind of training. And then you allocate resources for the training. And then you follow up. That's one thing. Follow up that people actually go for the training. In fact, you find out that some very strict organizations, they contact the trainer directly to go and get attendance. I've heard of cases like that. They will contact the training organization directly to get attendance. When did this person come? When did he leave? And then you create a way of measuring training outcome. Of course, part of your measuring your training outcome is that before they go, you make people understand the fact that they are not just going for training's sake. They are actually, of course, a lot of HR departments look for a way to lump this thing up into their appraisal one way or the other, such that when they are being sent forth for trainings, they already tell them what they want them to be able to achieve when they are back, what kind of skill set they want them to be able to have when they are back, what kind of competency they want them to be able to have improved in when they are back. And then when they are now back, of course, then they can now measure based on that. So I think that's a key principle for us to understand. Okay. So here are our deliverables and tools. As part of training team members and stakeholders, you would be, as a deliverable, you'll be having your team and mentoring plan, your training cost estimate, of course. Now, by the time you have been able to know what kind of trainings you have, and you have been able to find out those who can render the service, you will have your training cost estimate. You have your training calendar. And then as at when those people are back from training and they are writing a report, you have your training assessment. And then if it is a certification-based training, you have your certifications. So what tools and techniques do you use? There's something called training gap analysis. We've discussed this. Training gap analysis. Then the training itself. Then peering and mentoring. Peering and mentoring is a very, very powerful tool in training members and stakeholders. It's not everything you need to do that will require you to send somebody outside the organization to go and train. Sometimes you can pair people in the organization. You can pair a new person, a less experienced person, with a higher experienced person. Say, okay, go and mirror this person's work, go and shadow this person's work for 1 quarter, that kind of thing. So those are part of those things you could do. So required competencies, identifying the required competencies is the first aspect of developing and executing a training plan. Of course, competencies can include these necessary skills, necessary knowledge, and other attributes. Different stakeholders will have different training needs. Yes, the need of the MD, even the MD needs training. The need of the MD, different from the need of the clerk, different from the need of the gateman, different from the need of different people have different needs. So in the case of the MD, maybe you want to send the MD for maybe one advanced management of something in maybe Lagos Business School or something, you know. So team members themselves may require specific trainings on customers' culture, customers' business, customers' desired outcomes, and the project context. Okay. Oh yeah, more go break quickly. All right, 10 minutes.
Olopa Jen. Mo ń ṣe class ni. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Let them hear. Àdúrà mo ń gbà mí ṣépè. Àdúrà ni mo ń gbà.
Hello. Hello.
Sir.
Break over. Let's get back to class. Okay. Madam Oluwaseyi, how far now? How market? Remind us, what's the name of the task we're discussing?
What's the name of the
Task or topic we're discussing?
train team members and stakeholders?
Correct. Okay, Mr. Muhammad, are you there? Hello, Mr. Muhammad. Okay. Madam Olubumi, how market?
Oh, market is fine, sir.
Interesting. Okay, you see, say all the while when you know come class, we don't miss plenty things.
I don't miss. I know, sir, miss.
And you know come watch video. You see, say if they use style, they do shakara small.
Yeah.
So are you publicly promising us that the last class video you've not watched, you will watch it tomorrow?
Yes, I will.
Okay, so yeah, signing the hair like that. I should be looking at you. Yes, you are signing agreement.
I should sign.
You should sign with your hand in the air in front of your computer like that. So that it's a document that will go and keep with the high courts that you have promised to do something and you must not break your promise.
I signed already.
All right, beautiful. Thank you very much. All right, let's continue our discussion. So elements of training. What's a training? Training is whatever activity you're doing to enhance, to help people enhance their skill or acquire new skill, acquire new knowledge, acquire new attitude. So it could be done on one-on-one to a team, small group of people. It could be technical, it could be management, managerial, it could be for administrative issues. And there are different types of trainings: instructor-led, virtual, like this is virtual classroom. You have self-paced e-learning. Self-paced e-learning is like just like what you have in the LMS, in which you have videos somewhere, video courses, multimedia courses somewhere, and you go and be watching or go and be partaking in it at your own timing. Okay, so you have document review. That's like a book, telling you to go and read a book or something, or books. So you have interactive simulations, you have on-the-job training. So guidelines to determine required competencies. Madam Olubumi, help us with reading this quickly.
Okay. Guidelines to determine required competencies. What knowledge will be required for the stakeholder to perform as expected with the new solution? What skills or hands-on experience are needed to learn and be able to demonstrate readiness to carry out work using the solution?
Okay.
What level of buy-in to the solution has been given by the stakeholder, and what aspects of the training need to be employed to help develop support for the solution?
Okay.
What modalities of training should be offered? And what are the relative costs of different approaches?
Hmm. Okay. Please read the third point again.
What level of buy-in to the solution has been given by the stakeholder? And
Okay.
what aspects of the training need to be employed to help develop support for the solution?
Hmm. Interesting. Do you understand that point?
Mm, I don't understand, especially this buy-in. I don't know what they mean by level of buy-in
What
to the
it is
solution.
saying essentially is that whatever training you are doing, there should be a clear path to it being valuable to the organization. A clear path to it being valuable to the organization. That's why it's asking, what aspect of the training can you bring to the organization to improve the organization? Can you bring to the organization to improve whatever solution you are doing? Okay, I think that's one perspective. I think that another idea just came to my head now. What level of buy-in to the solution has been given by the stakeholder? Guidelines to determine required competencies. I look at this word solution here to mean maybe the project you're working on or something you are trying to solve for which you now need a training. Okay.
For it to,
So the solution has been given by the CEO. One aspect of training needs of training need to be employed to develop support for the solution. Yeah, I think that's the explanation I have for it. That's the explanation I have for it. Do we have any contrary explanation to that point number 3?
Yes. For the level of buying, it's about the acceptance.
We can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Okay. I said for the level of buying to the solution, I think it's talking about the acceptance, the the acceptance one, the commitment of the stakeholder to the solution.
Okay.
You
Okay.
understand? So the buying is talking about their level of commitment, dedication into that solution itself. How acceptable it is to them. How do they?
What is the solution? What solution is the solution?
Is the project, like you said?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Solid. 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 Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, training and mentoring plan. Training should be done as close as possible to the point of solution, use as possible. What does this mean? What this means is that, for example, you are on a 9-month project and a particular skill will be needed by month 7. Don't go and do training month 2 for something you need by month 7. I think it's quite obvious now because it's expected that humans are not machines. So you should train as close as possible to the point of use of the knowledge and competency. Scheduling is critical to avoid delaying the overall solution deployment. Perform a gap analysis to identify missing knowledge, skill, and required attributes. A training plan for team members can include improvement in competencies or possibly certification to benefit the project. Okay, so we have discussed some of these things. Virtual led team, just like what we are doing now. Live class, it will also be simulated. Self-paced, the courses are somewhere in a particular learning management system, and then you go there and you proceed at your own schedule. Document review is like just go and read some books or some white papers or some research documentation and things like that. So training cost estimates. When you want to come up with a training cost estimate, it is very important that you don't regard the training cost as the cost of the core training itself. What is regarded as training cost is total cost of training. So that includes the cost of the training itself and associated costs. Content creation, content hosting, instructional costs, courseware printing and distribution, venue cost, logistic costs. It's just like this training you are in now. I'm sure when you are computing the cost of this training, you were only considering the amount you'll be paying to Gem Center. You didn't consider some other costs. How do we know that one of you here is not currently running on generator? Mr. Toya Jani. In fact, let me even ask. Mr. Toya, are you on the phone or a laptop?
Laptop.
Okay. Madam Oluwaseyi, are you on a phone or laptop? Madam Oluwaseyi, are you on a phone or laptop?
I'm from you. What happened?
I did not say you should come. Just answer my question. Are you on a phone or laptop?
I'm on a phone. I'm trying to, okay, I wasn't even sure that okay, I'm on a phone.
Okay. Madam Olubumi, are you on a phone or laptop?
Phone.
Aha. Okay, Mr. Muhammad, I think his own is clear. He's in a laptop. Oh, you phone users. And you being what? Why people they use phone now? How you they see the screen? Madam Olubumi, why you they see the screen? So when I tell you to read something now, you now go and wear those big glasses, binoculars. Now start zooming in to read.
Then you give me the opportunity to preach to them.
You said what?
I said, give me the opportunity to preach to them.
I have to do your preaching.
Today is my first day of using my laptop fully.
Today is your first day of using laptop.
Different, So just go and drop the phone.
The experience is different. It's quite obvious, sincerely.
You can't compare it. It's like I've not been in class.
Interesting. This guy in the market now.
Just don't use the phone again. Seriously. It's that bad. It's that bad.
In fact, there are some training institutions, like I know of Prepcast. They will insist that you keep Prepcasting. Yes, Prepcast. They will insist that you should not use phone. They will insist. They will insist. Like, even though at the end of the day, they cannot know which device you are on. I mean, can they know? Can they? In fact, there are some training institutions that they will insist you put on your video. They insist that you put on video. Because one thing I have realized is that if everybody puts on video, we'll move faster. Madam Oluwaseyi, do you agree?
I'm not sure if I agree.
Women do not agree, so don't bother ourselves.
You said what?
People bother ourselves. Women will not agree, so don't bother ourselves.
Women will not agree.
I know why.
Why?
For me, okay. Let me be sincere with you. If my wife is in a training at the time of, you think I'll allow?
You said what? I didn't hear you.
Network news. Network news.
Okay, we have lost him to network news.
I just remember what you normally do.
Yes, now. You don't know. It's network news now. You recognize network news when you see it. The reason why I said that when you have video on, the class will be faster is that when you know you are being watched, you pay more attention. When you know you are being watched, when you know that if you moved from something, I already know that you have stood up. If you do this, somebody already knows that you're not paying attention. And
Yeah,
then by
but
the time,
the other side is that
okay,
it also puts you under pressure.
pressure is
That's
good
the
for
other
learning.
side. Well, not maybe not. People learn under different circumstances.
Okay, but if you were to be in a physical class, will you hide your face?
No, I won't. But then the mental, how do you say it now? Preparedness and readiness that a physical class demands. Yeah, it's almost unconscious. Your body adjusts. No
Unfortunately,
mind.
that adjusting is what we need to be able to move faster in class.
Okay.
Do you know that there are some people in this class that I will not mention name? If I ask a question from them, almost automatically the person will ask me to repeat the question. What does that tell you, Madam Oluwase?
Nami,
There are many things at play. Network is one.
Nami. Let me mention my name. It is
Hey,
me.
just dárúkọ yìí ni.
Yeah, Milano. Hey. No, seriously. The truth is that we can hide behind Zoom and be doing different things. In fact, you have somebody like Muhammad Adeleke that is scamming us in class. You will see him smiling, you will think he's with you. He's somewhere else entirely. It's until you call his name that we now remember, oh my God, I'm in class. And then we now start asking you questions of something you discussed 30 minutes ago. Huh? Eh? Well, let's continue like this. Huh? You said what?
What you say? Say that again. So I'm trying to confirm.
I didn't hear what you
have
said now. Somebody said I've thought about it. I didn't hear that part.
Yes, I said I've thought about what you said too. Like the video will make the class a bit more. It will be more serious as But
Sincerely,
there are a lot of factors we have to consider as well. There are a lot of factors. The timing, you understand, it's late. Especially if I'm using my phone. Like I'm using my phone, and probably if you do video, you'll not even be able to see me. Especially if I'm not using, there's no power supply or something, and I'm just using my phone, or a lot of factors that you also need to consider. Timing, it's late, and I'm not sure this is the best time for people to put on their video. You understand? I'm just saying. This is you understand? So
okay. Anyway, let's proceed.
right.
No wahala. Mo shall continue like that. God go bless our effort like that, as we do it like that. So that's that. Let's move on. Training calendar. Project manager needs to publish and support a specific calendar of training dates and locations. The schedule also needs to be published to the customer stakeholders. Create a mechanism for recognition, registration, and sending confirmation messages. Provide class roster and a way to capture signatures of attendees. Look at that point there. And a way to capture signature of attendees. It could be physical signature. It could be timestamp of when the person logged in, and any other way of both physical and digital kind of login. And then manage the training schedule and timing to avoid delaying the project's delivery timeline. Say you cannot imagine that somebody is on a 6-month project, and because he needs training, you can't go give him a 9 months training. And the project that he will use in knowledge itself is 6 months. So that's another factor you want to put into consideration when you are designing training calendar. You have to look at the available time. It might not be justifiable for you to now delay the project because you want to send somebody on training. Well, of course, except it's so critically important and that knowledge does not exist, nobody else can do it, and that's the best decision at that point in time. Maybe if you are doing space science and the only way to progress is for you to suspend the project and let's send people to go and do space engineering course or something, you know. So pairing and mentoring, pairing customer stakeholders together enables them to reinforce the learning in each other. Very important. In fact, you find that there's a difference between pairing and mentoring. Pairing could be in the form of even two people who are still learners. You could pair them. Why? There'll be a kind of mutual strengthening of knowledge. Yes, they use the word reinforce here. Okay, this one has learnt A. The second one too wants to ensure he has learnt A. This one has gotten to C. The other one wants to say, you have gotten to C. Okay, let me hasten up. You know, okay, they've gotten to C, but the other one doesn't understand B. Okay, can they, some form of tutorial, some form of guidance, some form of explanation, some form of helping, mutually. In fact, there's a concept called accountability partners. Accountability partners. Example, you could find Mr. Toya Jani and Mr. Muhammad Adeleke saying, okay, they want to become accountability partners of each other, such that, okay, they want to follow up on each other on their scores, follow up on each other on their reading schedule, follow up on each other on their attendance in class. These things have a way of making people succeed. These things have a way of encouraging people to strive harder than they would if they are actually doing these things on their own. For example, look at the TMGS. There's something we do called TMGS, Turbo Mode Guided Study. It's a form of mentoring system wherein we don't just train you and say, bye-bye, go and read on your own. But we remain there behind you, calling you, giving you an assignment, giving you study assignment, giving you what to do, giving you how to get things done. Because the truth is, a lot of people, when you leave them alone, they just disappear into the background, never to be seen again, never to be heard from. So mentoring in this case now enables an experienced team member to coach a less experienced team member. Pairing and mentoring foster team building and collaborative environment. Training focuses on building individual skills to be used in the present. Mentoring helps develop well-rounded individuals for the future through long-term professional relationship between novice and experienced employees. Relationship can be formal, can be informal, ad hoc ones created by the individuals themselves, or might be formally established by the organization who intentionally pair the participants. What they are saying here is that sometimes mentoring relationship do not necessarily have to be formal by the organization. Sometimes it could be ad hoc in the sense that somebody walks up to somebody and says, I want you to mentor me, blah, 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 like that. So you don't wait until the project manager sets up a mentoring system for you. If you identify a need for mentorship, you could walk up to somebody and pitch your idea out to the person, and it could be lucky, it could be approved. So baselining and post-training assessment. Baselining provides a technique for measuring the efficacy of training. What does baselining mean? Mr. Toyajani, can you give me another word for baselining? Mr. Toyajani, are you there? Okay. Okay. Madam Olubumi, are you with us? Okay. So I'm the only one left in class. Madam Oluwaseyi, are you with us? Am I online?
I'm here. I can hear you. I'm in class.
Oh, girl. àwọn èèyàn wá ti lọ sùn.
Mi
Like
rò
say
bẹ́ẹ̀ bóyá network.
combined case of network news and kitchen matters. They've taken these people away. Eh? I was asking for another name for
For
baselining. Can you give
baseline.
me another name for it?
So more like zeroing, kind of
Olumele.
starring. So let me explain. An example. So maybe when you want to weigh something, you put that's the example that just came to my mind. You put the more like the weighing dish on the balance and you zero the weight. So you can assess the weight of whatever it is that you add.
Okay.
So in a manner of speaking, baselining allows you to be able to, from a 0 point, measure what is gained going forward regarding anything.
Okay. So you could call it some form of benchmarking.
Correct. In a way, yes.
You call it some form of benchmarking.
Mm.
So the reason why
But
you're baselining is you want to compare current situation with
with where
a new situation. To know if
yes,
there's a
the new,
benefit,
exactly. So if there is
if
a,
there's an
if there,
enhancement.
in this case, for
Yes.
instance, more like
Okay.
so for example, when we were starting out this class, we ran a pre-assessment.
Correct.
And I
Correct.
noticed that there is another one for post-assessment.
Correct.
So the pre-assessment is more like the baselining, assessing what you know at that point. Then the post will now help us see what you have gained after the training, kind of.
Correct. Very correct. Very correct. Very correct. Thank you very much. So attendees complete a pre-assessment before training, and then after training, a post-assessment is used to demonstrate the newly acquired levels of competence.
Competent.
Correct. Okay. So, Madam Olubumi, are you back
Yes,
from the
sir.
kitchen?
I'm back, sir.
Why did you take time away from class to the kitchen?
No, I didn't leave class. It's just I think that thing was mute. It was on mute.
So, simply because I wanted to find you that you give us part of what you went to cook. That's why you quickly change.
No, I didn't
strategy.
leave. I didn't leave. No, I didn't leave. I was here.
Okay, so now, as an important add-on to the discussion we had earlier, can you read this slide on how you can, as an organization, what can you do to ensure training actually occurs?
Okay. Number one, so you should create awareness among the stakeholders about available training.
Okay.
Number two, you create invitations to attend the training.
Okay.
Sorry, teacher, you seem tired.
Me, I'm on video, so I cannot run away like Mr. Toya Jani ran away. Continue.
I did not run away. I was having issues with my. Don't worry, let's continue.
No wahala, no wahala.
I couldn't
Omo, your network
unmute.
is not
I couldn't
good.
unmute, so I was having technical impact.
All right. Oh yeah, Madam Olubumi, please continue.
Number three, engage with customer management for buy-in and commitment to have their employees attend the training programs.
Okay.
Number four, registration needs to include a confirmation notification and a reminder before the training.
Okay.
Number five, create rosters for each delivery of the training.
Okay.
Six, capture signatures to confirm attendance and participation in pre or post assessments.
Correct. 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 Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So when you talk about certifications, industry certifications like the PMP demonstrate that knowledge and skill have been gained during the training. The location and administration of certification exams may vary. It might be delivered directly after the class, just like the COVID one that I did many years ago. We just went for training, and immediately after the training, we paid for certification, and we wrote the certification right there in the venue of the training. Boom, and I got COVID 5 certification, foundation level. It's like, wow, just like that, you know. And then you have the kind of exam like this one too, that you go do training, then you go read. Then you now say, can I write certification or not? Then you now go and register. Then you now write certification exam. So there are different types. So administered as a training center by a proctor, delivered online by a webcam proctor. Just like the PMP exam now, you can write it in your room. That one is by webcam proctor. Or you can go to a testing center. You can go to a testing center and then the testing center proctor, would administer the exam. So industry credentials are more portable and they can be more desirable by those who hold the certification and future employers. So how do you measure training outcomes? Mr. Mohammed, I want you to explain this to us quickly, please. Mr. Mohammed, are you with us? Have we lost you to training network news?
I'm here.
You are sounding very distant.
I'm here. I'm not listening to you.
Yeah, explain now. Just low.
Measured by ability.
We can't hear you. You're not talking to yourself.
Training is ultimately measured by the ability to perform the work needed. Post-assessment and certifications prove knowledge.
Okay.
The true test of training is demonstrated by applying the knowledge and skills at the workplace.
So, Mr. Mohammed, what do you do when someone claims to have gone for training and you cannot, and that person cannot demonstrate the application of the knowledge and skill at the workplace? What do you do?
Okay, you are creating a scenario, right? Or you're asking me a question?
I'm asking you a question, yes.
Okay.
How do you handle such?
You have to query. I have to query the authenticity of the certification. If it's a type of certification that can actually be queried. However, that one is like killing a fire. Even before the engagement of the person, what I'm supposed to have done is to have give the person some level of task and ask them some level of question, able to know their competency level. Part of those techniques has actually been covered in the previous slide in this same discussion. That's not become a firefighter.
Well, I'm interested in knowing your explanation of being a firefighter in this context. I see some knowledge for us in that concept.
Firefighter in this concept means not doing the necessary to identify a problem and solve it before it happens. To foresee a challenge and solve it before it happens. But in this concept now, by having a pre-engagement assessment, let me use PMP, let me use a similar English, a pre-engagement assessment to determine the competencies of the team that are working on the project in this context. Even though one cannot get clear picture, or at least to an extent, one can have an understanding of the knowledge or the skill configuration of the concerned team or team members. So that not in the middle of the project, you now need to trying to get new team members. And the process of getting new team members, assessing the impact on the project and delivery time, and can also affect other team members, either in a particular sprint or the same sprint, depending on the project. It has a lot of effects. So that is why the preliminary steps are very, very key. And from this, I've actually learned a lot, because no matter the type of project we are doing, either we want to get an analysis for our wedding, or we want to employ a team member, knowing all these competencies matters a lot. vis-a-vis the level of projects you want to handle.
Interesting. 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 How is what we have done today related to Madam Alasi? Can you help me link it up? Madam Luashi wants to ask that question, but she's trying to unmute. She cannot unmute. So I've been able to connect to her soul and pick the question from there. Now I'm asking question on behalf of Madam Luashi. Killing task on Alasi for gossip. We are explain, Mr. Mohammed.
Because what I've understand in this my journey of PMP, that everything you want to do to be more structured.
Okay.
So, hiring an analysis, there should be key expectations we expect from the analysis.
Okay.
And that analysis should be able to meet those criteria, if not all, large percentage of those criteria. So, which is depending on the nature of party we are organizing or that of people we are serving food. If the analysis does not know how to put that type of food or that type of dishes that the stakeholder, the people that will eat the food, in this case, we like, then it does not meet the criteria. So the competency in this case also matters. Not as somebody is Alasi, we're not able to provide the necessary dish. And I have a similar experience when somebody was coming out of the country. I told him, you are going out, go with your gari and beverage. He was telling me, I don't take beverage. When we reach Dubai, because you cannot eat their food. Because even the apple there and the apple in Nigeria is not the same thing. The apple in an average 5-star hotel in Dubai and the hotel and suits or like Campaign, it's not the same apple.
Okay, one is green and another one is purple.
But even the taste is not Kodabi Tiwa, Kodabi. So all those things are actually reality. So if an analyst is cooking food and does not know how to maybe you want to cook food in Ibadan now, there is the way they do the abula. I cannot meet the standard of the abula is problem. When it comes to a place like Port Harcourt, people that have not normally don't eat amala in their house, they now come to your party because of amala. Not that you don't have money for amala, but amala does not look like amala ile. There is a problem. This means that person, that Alasi does not have the competency in preparing their own amala. Because we are not talking about rice or yellow garlic, it's amala that are talking about.
It reminds me of when I went to Ghana to write my PMP. In 2015, there was no center. Actually, 2015 and some other years like that, they actually cancelled being able to write PMP in Nigeria. I had to travel to Ghana to write. I remember in the hotel I lodged, they brought me fried rice. Oh my God. It was tasting very, very different. I was complaining that this your fried rice is burnt. They just looking at me again, see this Nigerian. This is proper Ghanaian fried rice. I said, you ain't getting for you. He said, fried rice late. And it was then now done on you. Sincerely, there's so much to learn in this world. If you remain in your village, you think you have mastered everything. You probably know 0.0001% of things. And that's why I agree that sometimes traveling, you open your eyes. If you just remain in your own town, you think you are just in one tiny microcosm of things. It never ever occurred to me. In fact, when they were telling me that that's how Ghanaian, I was still arguing with them. I lie. You need to go and tell the person to eat. It was burnt. It was later I now left the person and I got to understand that. See, look, Arapon, that was the first time I ever left Nigeria. And I didn't even have a template in my brain to be able to understand that food could be the same name and it could be different things, even though they bear the same name across different cultures. You understand? But when I now came back, I think I now went for one particular program. I was in a webinar. When I make sense of all those things. Okay. It means, open don't get fried rice. It's something totally different. Then I started thinking of even Eba. What an average Calabar woman will call Eba. It's kind of different from what an average Yoruba man will call Eba. And they both bear Eba. Anyway, enough of our food matters. Let us move on to another task. Mr. Toyajani, can you remind us of the task we just finished? What's the name of that task?
Training team members and stakeholders.
Correct. Train team members and stakeholders. Can you remind us of any deliverable that comes to your mind?
Ensuring that the training occurs.
Excuse me? Is that an enabler or a deliverable or a tool or what?
An enabler.
I asked you for a deliverable.
Yes. Deliverable.
I can hear clicking. Hey! Oh my God, Mr. Toyajan. Hey!
I'm not the one clicking, no.
Okay, who is clicking? I can hear.
I
hear mouse clicking.
Okay.
Hey! If it's not you, hey, Mr. Mohammed, he knows that after you is him I'm coming to.
Deliverable.
We should know these things. So. Madam Olubumi, you have been silent for the past 10 minutes. What's going on? It's not normal for you to be silent in class like that. Madam Olubumi has gone back to sleep. Madam Oluwaseyi, are you with us?
Sir.
How market now?
I'm here.
Tell me one tool that you can remember.
Tool.
Yes.
The training.
Yes, correct. The training itself is actually correct. Oh yeah, tell me one more.
One more.
Mentoring.
Sir?
Tell me one more tool.
Tool. Okay. Pairing and mentoring.
Correct. Tell me one more tool again, no.
That was the last one now. That was the last one.
You should know now. Gap analysis.
Gap analysis, yes.
Gap analysis.
Gap analysis.
Correct.
Gap analysis.
Correct. We are making progress. We are making progress. We are making progress.
All right. School anthem be that time. Sure.
Which one be that one?
We are making progress. We are making. You are greatest. You are. Continue.
Thank you. I comment my reserve. Engage and support virtual teams. Yes. The COVID issue was one of those major things that made them see the importance of making this a task on its own. That COVID thing was a major thing. If we never experience such a thing again, some people are here to recover. You know, some people like that. Jobs lost are not easily gained back, especially if you are repetitive in the job. Some people they have a tendency of repetitive. Once they have a job, they are making money, salary is coming in every month, and then they have this tendency of repetitive, such that they can't easily fit into other environments. A lot of their skill set is so tailored to that job. God, it's unfortunate. Anyway, we'll keep thanking God. So, engage and support virtual teams. Mr. Toya Jani, help us with this enablers, please.
Examine virtual team member needs.
Okay.
Investigate alternatives for virtual team member engagement. Okay. Implement options for virtual team member engagement. Continually evaluate effectiveness of virtual team member engagement.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. I'll go back to the first one and help us in justifying each one of them.
Okay. We're talking about engage and support virtual teams. Okay. So examine the virtual team member needs will help us to know the needs of each member such that so that we can have an effective what's it called? Let me call it virtualization. Okay. So, well, some of the tools we use anyway. Basically, what we want to do is we want to examine the needs. We want to look at what each team member needs to be able to carry out its tasks or deliverables effectively. So that's basically what we want to do here. Okay. So if we know what they need, then we'll have an effective what's it called? Engagement.
Okay. Proceed, please. Next one.
So investigate alternatives for virtual team member engagement. Okay, so I will say investigate here. What I think means just we should look out for alternatives for virtual team engagement. So, what are the other alternatives that can be used? What I think we need, what they are talking about here is probably the tools they need. The tools they need for example, let's say we need FTP for file exchange and all that. So probably want to look at alternatives that you can use for the virtual team member engagement. Am I correct?
Okay. Okay. Next, please.
Implement options for virtual team member engagement. Okay.
Based on the alternative that you generated, yes?
Teams, exactly. So now this is the implementation. Then continually evaluate effectiveness of virtual team member engagement. So we want to evaluate, are we getting it right? Are we doing it effectively? Are we getting results? Is it working? So we need to do that continually.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so the deliverables here, collaboration technology itself. Once you carry out this task, one of those things you want to generate is you have been able to generate, you look at your alternatives and you've been able to come up to say, okay, this is how we want to get this done. Are we using Zoom? Are we using Google Meet? Are we using Cisco? Look at Cisco, you know. I've forgotten this Cisco one. Google Meet, Cisco. Oh, big go to webinar or WebEx. I think it's WebEx that's owned by Cisco.
It's WebEx.
Yes, WebEx, correct. Are you using WebEx? Are you using GoToWebinar? Are you using, which one do you actually want to use? You know, so whatever collaboration technology you want to use, Those are part of the deliverables of this task because that's one of those things we want to get done as part of carrying out this task. Then your engagement assessment. For example, let me give you an example of engagement assessment. I'm sure you remember, you notice that when you do a WhatsApp call, at the end of the call, WhatsApp will ask you to, what's that thing, like 5-star
An evaluation.
rate. Yes, you should rate the quality of the audio, something of the video, something of the, you know, like that. So you should do the rating of it. Okay. Then calendar tools. Yeah. What do you need calendar tools for? What I understand from calendar tools here is, you know, it's virtual now. So you want to keep track of, maybe dates for your meetings, maybe dates for, yeah, for your meetings and for other stuff like that. Okay. So tools here: communication plan, variance analysis, PM powers. Okay, collaboration technology. This enables teams to plan, collaborate, and communicate. This is not a substitute for team planning activities. This is not a substitute for team planning activities, such as establish a team charter that details how a team will work together. What they are saying here essentially is that you should view collaboration technology as technology. It is the technology that powers your communication. So you still need to carry out your activities normal. So transparency considerations will factor into which collaboration technology is chosen. From the various options that you have, of course, definitely you would have to choose something. Okay. Collaboration tools might include shared task boards to improve visibility, maybe like a Trello board or a Asana board, messaging and chat boards to enable communication, knowledge repository to store shared documents, maybe Google Drive or something else. So video conferencing tool, maybe Zoom, you know, to create opportunity for face-to-face communication. Okay. So virtual team members' needs. Basic need of a virtual team is shared goal. That's basic thing of every. That's a need for any team. A clear purpose. That's for any team. Clarity on rules and expectations. Even though this is for any team, but it's particularly more important for virtual teams. Clarity on rules and expectations is particularly more important for virtual teams. Why do we say it's more important for virtual teams? Whether you like it or not, no amount of virtual collaboration can beat physical collaboration. So there is the possibility of ambiguity creeping into your work, creeping into your communication, creeping into the form of collaboration. And that is the reason why you fight ambiguity with excess level of clarity. You go out of your way to ensure more and more clarity is thrown into what you're doing. And then make your expectations clear. Your expectations should be clear. For example, now, let me give you an example. If I want Madam Oluwaseyi to answer a question, if I were in a physical class, I simply need to mention her name or probably point at her. But in a virtual class now, if I wanted to answer a question, I have to go out of my way to ensure I mention her name clearly. And then
you
I
have
reiterate.
how markets.
And then exactly. Yes, now, you know. So the whole idea is you have to go out of your way to communicate in a very, 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 very clear way. If our market is what will bring her out of the kitchen to answer you, go ahead and ask her how market is. So that's that. So the project manager must facilitate and ensure collaboration. So alternatives for virtual team member engagement. Um, Managing engagement requires persistence and focus. Focus on what?
I would like to. So can I?
Proceed.
Okay, I didn't want to take you back. So maybe at the end I will ask that question. I'll take it on my question. Yes. I will ask at the end of the class. I will ask that question. Let's continue.
Okay.
I won't forget.
Managing engagement requires persistence and focus on what? On team dynamics, on transparency, accountability. Please, those virtues of transparency and accountability are key in the integrity of virtual team. They are key. Okay, oh yeah, all of you, open your WhatsApp. I want to send something to you on WhatsApp. I just remembered something now. So you will tell me who that person is, who the person is referring to. I just remembered transparency and accountability. Yes. Okay. Ah, oh my God, I can't find it again. Yeah. I'm coming. Transparency and accountability. Transparency and accountability. Sorry. I'm coming. Oh, unfortunately, sorry, I can't find the video again. So when I find it, I will find the video. Media video. Except coming. Well, sorry, can't find it again. Unfortunately, it's it's been a very lovely way of communicating our transparency and accountability. Uh, the economy. Okay, I do so. You know, it took me. I can't find it. Anyway, let's continue with our class. I can't find it video again. Oh my God, very painful. When I get it, I will still look for it.
Okay, maybe I should ask my question now.
Oh yeah, please do.
Okay. The question is this. I mean, this question.
I can't hear you.
That, hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello, is it better now? Yes.
Yes.
You said no matter kind of effort you put into virtual things, that it cannot be as effective as the face-to-face physical
Correct.
collaboration.
Correct.
But today, what we see in big organizations today is that technologies are made us as somehow eliminated or even connected, I would say, reduced to a large extent the number of physical meetings we have. Sometimes
Correct.
we don't even get to see each other, and we are working on the same project. We don't even see each other for months, and we are in the same office or in the same building. You know, we finished like 3 projects together, and we have not met. So I remember working on some projects, and I was working from home, And I had the extension line to the company at home as well on a summer board. Nobody knew that I was at home. I mean, today, a lot of what's it called now? Technologies you have, even at task, IT, all those, what's it called now? Project management tools. You have you have very little need for you to meet physically. Do you understand? So,
Yes.
so I can argue now that you can have a very effective, what's it called, virtual access that will even work better than the ones that are meeting physically. Today, they are working physically. Sometimes they don't
See,
they meet face to face, so they don't use some of the tools that will have enabled some of them work better. You understand?
okay.
So some of these guys that are not working physically, they are virtual. You know, they embrace a lot of solutions, a lot of things that make their work faster. I mean, far better than what these guys that are sitting together are doing. My experience, I may be wrong. So that's for me.
I can't take away what you have just said. And you always find pockets of exceptions. But in terms of communication, that's what I mean. Not in terms of whatever work you are doing. In terms of communication and collaboration, nothing beats physical. Just like in terms of teaching, they will tell you no matter how much you try, no matter how much you want to deceive ourselves, we are going to absorb more if we are all seated together in the classroom than the one that we are doing here. If we are seated
Okay, the host now.
Who is the host now?
By the network. That is reality of Zoom. Your wife is back.
Wait, I don't understand. Mr. Jani, why do you talk about my internet?
Why did I?
I said, why do
Why
you
did I
tamper
do
with
what?
my internet connection?
Yeah.
I said, why do you tamper with my internet connection?
I saw you people did.
You. Anyway, let's still have this. So there is important we are doing virtual teams. The principle of transparency and accountability is key. You know, when I'm seeing you physically, I can trust what you say. When I don't see you, you need to go out of your way to demonstrate accountability and transparency. Because by the time everybody starts suspecting everybody, starts believing every other person is lying, every other person is not being truthful about current situation of things. You know, the whole team culture breaks down. The whole team culture breaks down. It's just like even myself. There are times in which you be in a meeting and you are so bored and you just unmute like every 25 minutes. Oh, you're making sense. And then you mute back and then you go back to what you do. So it's very important that a lot of transparency and ability should be in what you do. And then attention to effective communication. You need to understand the fact that there are some limitations as a result of the means of communication. So you are supposed to now go out of your way, go above board, put in extra effort to ensure that you communicate clearly. It's just like saying, if you use the airport very well, you understand something. Those who actually announce those flights, whatever, they must have been trained extensively in communication. See the way they will be calling. they will call flight A2126. It's now boarding. Because at the airport, you are three different
train our
people.
own for
Both the
Nigeria.
young and the old, the weak, the strong, the one that has they train them, Oga. They train them.
Okay.
Different segments of society. So you must say it in the way that the maximum number of people will be able to understand. And then they will repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat before they can say, this is the forwarding call for flight kinika blah 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 blah. You know the jargon that they say. You understand? So they will say it enough times because they understand the fact this is an airport. Everybody is walking around. You can't say it once and as they hear and I. It may be that out of the 6 times you say it, number 6 I remember I was once in, what was that? Was it Learning Airport or was that Abuja? Everybody else I was. It was the last call. I just checked my body. It's my flight day call. I tell you come and I was just there seated. So you have to be able to cater for people like me that was absent-minded on that day, and some other people who are not absent-minded. As a result, they had to come up with that kind of communication mechanism because of the fact that this context of the communication was very rough and you know, what's the word? And it was easy to be mindless. So they had to create a communication system to be able to, you know, fix. So for the same reason, to effective communication. For example, I've not had Madame Olu whom is voicing part of me. But I just have a hope at the back of my mind that she's there, that she has slept. I'm just hopeful. I'm just working with hope. I'm just working with hope that Mr. Mohammed has not stepped up. It's just plain hope. There's no states. You get. Anyway, let's continue. So you use video. Yeah, okay. Now I know you have not slept. Meditate. Active participation and ability to assess body language and tone. Me, I'm using video conferencing too. But my participants in this class, they are denying me the ability to assess the language. And even in terms of tone, that one too, got 50%. 50%. So enable visibility of the
Sir, you're freezing up.
works out being by the visual team members by using some enable visibility of the work and the work status being done by the team members by using tools such as Kanban style boards. Madam Oluwase, is it clear now?
Not clear.
Yes, sir. It's clear. It's clear, sir.
All right. Oga Toyadani, you can't hear my voice.
If it's clear on our side, then it's my internet. Because it's breaking head.
Yeah, it was.
It was, Abby.
Yes, it was. I think it's his network.
So women have different ways of multitasking. So I don't underestimate people.
Okay.
There's a way they can hear you when it's breaking in.
Communication. Effective communication is key to successful teams. A team charter includes communication expectations and details. A good perspective. Mr. Toyadani, remind us what do we mean by retrospective? Toyadani, retrospective, quickly, please. Mr. Toyadani, are you first?
Hello, yes, I can hear you. Hello.
Answer the question quickly, please.
I didn't get anything. You said I should.
Oh. Retrospective. What do you mean by that? Actually, oh. Mr. Muhammad, can you step in and help us?
Retrospective usually comes up at the end of the project to review the just completed. It can come up at the end of the project or
at the end of the project, is that correct?
At the end of a sprint. At the end of a sprint to review
that. Be careful.
What transpired during the script and to also plan accordingly for the next script, for the next sprint when using in agile project lifecycle. Maybe when using Kanban or Scrum or is agile oriented model of reviewing what happens in the project space.
All right, thank you very much. So good retrospective often provides ways that a team can improve its communication, collaboration, and use visibility tools. Engagement assessments. It's all about see if it is going as you want it to go. Identify team members who can successfully form a current working team. While subject matter expertise is needed, other capabilities such as effective teamwork, collaboration, and communication are important. In fact, this second point was a very is the core of a very huge argument we once had back then in school. The solution of people who had a particular competence, and then we had the argument. A group of people said whether is the best expert in that competence. A lot of people said no. Leadership skills are more important than the core competence. They're not just because the person has expertise in competency, automatically become leader. So we had a lot of arguments then. So, Mr. Moman, what's your position about the argument?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly now.
Did you hear my question?
I didn't hear it clearly. Hello. Is that no, the audio is.
Did you hear my question?
I didn't hear it clearly, but I can hear you clearly now.
I was asking a question. Point number 2 here is why subject matter expertise is needed. Other capabilities such as effective teamwork, collaboration, and communication are important. Did you hear that, Mr. Muhammad?
Yes. I had that.
And now to issue sometime back then.
The voice is crashing.
In which
maybe you should restart your internet or something.
Okay, you know what? Oh yeah, let's go on break. Second break. Oh yeah, our break starts now.
Okay.
That's your break. Well, ciao.
Hello, my people. Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Welcome back. I want to believe I'm audible now.
Yes, sir, it's better.
Ogato Ajani, are you with us? Madam Olubumi, we've not heard from you in a long time. What's going on? You are calling. Okay, today. So, and invite team members who can. Okay, as new members join, the team will cycle through the team development stages of reforming, storming to produce norms and continually improving. Okay, communication plan. The project manager should facilitate the creation of an initial team communication plan. What are those things you have in your communication plan? Issues like when does the team meet? What tools are used to track work status? How often is the work status updated? What are the shared team hours? What are preferred communication approaches? Engage the team to adopt its own practices and drive iterative improvements to their communication approaches. Effective collaboration and broad, accurate visibility across stakeholders is the objective. Effective collaboration and broad visibility, accurate visibility across stakeholders is the project management. Read from this slide. Madam Oluwaseyi, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, now read from the slide.
Okay, conflict management. Conflict and disagreements in any team are inevitable. Effective team charters can help the project manager anticipate problematic situations. By anticipating situations of possible disagreements, you can decide on a potential solution and how to handle the situation before it even arises.
Okay. 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 All right, read this again, please.
Conflict
Madam Oluwaseyi, over to you.
management. Sir?
Please read this slide.
Okay, guidelines to implement options for virtual team member engagement. Focus on collaboration and team norms before focusing too much on tools. Recognize that team formation in a virtual environment is difficult.
Okay.
It's critical to reinforce the team's mutual commitment, achievements, and opportunities. Virtual teams require a significant amount of feedback and reinforcement of the team goals and objectives. Provide opportunities for members of a virtual team to meet in person to build relationships that will nurture their shared commitment to the project's goals.
Okay. Okay. I would have wanted us to discuss point number one, but we don't have time. So thank you very much, Madam Oluwaseyi. Calendar tools. Shared calendars help virtual teams plan meetings, coordinate feedback, and improve visibility to goals and activity status. Time box meetings. They encourage team to set clear agenda and objectives. They help people
Let's change to the next slide.
track. Mr. Mohammed, hello, are you there?
That you have not changed to the slide you are reading.
You said what?
You did not change before. We're not seeing the current slide before. Now we dey see am.
Okay. I think there's an issue with my internet connection. Anyway, the time box meeting concept is a very important one. And what it's telling you here is to see when you want to work on a meeting, it is usually good, just like the concept of the daily scrum, in which you're supposed to go for a meeting and it has been time boxed to just 15 minutes. The time boxed to just 15 minutes. So time boxing meeting helps to improve focus. Yeah. So team must decide towards the goal of visibility among team relevant stakeholders. Mr. Analysis. Mr. Muhammad, tell us about variance analysis.
I should do what? Tell you about what?
Tell us about variance. Read from the slide.
Variance analysis. As the team works, the project manager may produce variance analysis such as accuracy of team estimates, delivery in a sprint or by an established milestone, team performance against targets. Result of the variance analysis may be shared as part of the retrospective to serve as 1, a basis for problem solving. 2, identification of lesson learned. 3, proposed improvement experiment for subsequent iterations.
Okay, thank you very much. So powers of the project manager. Remember, this is one of the tools. So what does this with virtual teams? For virtual teams, the risk of individual team members becoming isolated from the other team is inherent. It is important to focus on the shared commitment versus individual accomplishments regarding tasks. By instilling a sense of shared commitment into the team, starting with team charter, the team members will adopt behavior to reinforce collaboration and promote visibility. As a project manager of a virtual team, you must reinforce the team goals over individual performance and enable the team to self-organize and be accountable for the goals. Powers of a PM is essentially explaining how the manager can use the authority level and the privileges that is, or that role has to be able to foster, and excess in the virtual team. And the very key point here is you should always prioritize, you should always emphasize team goals over individual performance. So guidelines to continually evaluate the effective virtual engagement. So this is very important. We can use this our training as an example to understand this. How to continually evaluate the effectiveness of our classes, the virtual team nature of our classes, the member engagements in our classes. Number 1, track the process of teams that they can work and produce deliverables. Okay, do your daily quizzes, submit, and based on the scores, you can have an idea of who's following and who is not following. Okay. Ensure meetings, daily stand-ups are not just status updates or value commitment on the team itself. Okay, so in our case, have regular live classes wherein you review the current status of people and then you discuss concepts around new information. Use video conferencing tool. We are currently using Zoom. Time box your our live sessions are not open yet. They are between 7:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. That at this point we have come to the end of that process. Or sorry, it's task. Mr. Mohammed, are you there?
I'm here.
Mr. Mohammed, are you
I'm here.
there?
Yes.
What's the name of the process we just finished? The task we just finished. What's the name of the task we just finished?
Is engage and support virtual teams.
Engage and support virtual teams. Okay, so we're supposed to go by and jump right into the last task today. You are tired, have you?
Yeah, well, I am. It's been a long day.
I bet it is so long.
Sir?
I thought you
Sir?
had even slept.
You thought I slept? No.
Moni, I thought you had even slept. We're almost
Why
gone.
do
We're
you
almost
say
gone. We have barely 30 minutes left. No, you've been quiet, me.
slept?
When you have been quiet, me.
Most times I'm quiet. Except you say something that's funny and I laugh.
Thank you. No, Allah. So that you can go and sleep. Build a shared understanding about the project. Build a shared understanding of the project. Okay, Madam Alwashi, lead the enablers, please.
Okay, so enablers survey all parties to reach consensus. Support outcome of parties' agreements.
What's the task we're discussing? What's it?
Build shared understanding about
What's
the
the
project.
task we are currently discussing?
The task is build shared
Justify it to the
understanding
enablers.
about
We are justify the enabler.
I'm not sure.
Hello.
It looks like it's not written in English.
Hello. So my understanding of the task, build shared understanding about the project, means that all the stakeholders must have the same understanding of the picture, or how do I put it, the big picture, the same understanding. The goal must be the same. There must be the vision must be the same. There must be a consensus of some sort. So the first enabler, survey all parties to reach consensus, covers more like an assessment of all the parties represented. So in this case, that that will be the project team, almost the direct stakeholders that are involved in the project work. An assessment of their understanding of the project is done. And the next enabler is supporting outcome of parties' agreements. That's my understanding.
Yeah. No, you have not justified the second enabler now. Am I missing something, Madam Oluwaseyi? I didn't hear the second one.
Oh, the second one, I said outcome of parties' agreements. So we've talked about more like assessing all the parties to reach a consensus. Then the second one is under building shared understanding about the project, is to support the outcome of the agreements, the consensus in this case. So the first one is reaching a consensus. The second one is supporting the outcome or the execution of the consensus. Did you hear me now?
Yes, correct, very correct. So here are the vision is very important when you are talking about shared understanding, because the vision is the desired end state, a set of desired objectives and outcomes. At the start of the project, the clear vision of the deliverables of that end objective is critical. Yes. The definition of deliverables influences the project approach. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Madam Oluwaseyi, am I audible?
To me, yes, you are.
Yes.
To your journey in class. Miracle. Call himself. The definition of deliverables influences the project approach. Say you use traditional waterfall or you use agile. So it's important to have good clarity. So as in what I mean is you're working on a project. It is not just for the project manager to understand what the project is about. It is very important for all necessary relevant stakeholders to have a good idea of the big picture, what they are working towards, such that people will be able to be creative in their thinking, and not just boxed into the tiny task-only mindset. You know what I mean by task-only mindset? Sometimes you have big picture mindset. You're able to be more in your mindset. So, vision statement should include product description or solution description, intended users or consumers of the solution, key desired objectives, differentiators from competitive approaches, key features and benefits. So at this point, we are also going to discuss the concept of a project charter. Mr. Muhammad, you have watched the video, so you know what the charter is. Read out the slides to us, please.
Okay. Project charter. Project charter is a document issued by the project initiator or sponsor that formally authorizes the existence of the project and provides the project manager with authority to apply organizational resources to project activities. The key points, the key things in the project: measurable project objective,
Beautiful,
and related success criteria. High-level requirements,
okay.
high-level project
Okay.
description, boundaries, and key deliverables. Overall project risk. We approved financial resources, key stakeholders list,
Okay.
project approval requirements, project signed, project manager responsibility / authority level.
Okay.
Name authority of the project. I finish reading.
Breaking. Is it me? Okay, let's just move on. We have barely 20 more minutes. So project overview statement. This communicates the enterprise-wide, the intent and vision of the project. Brevity and clarity are key. It captures the project's objective, problem or opportunity, and criteria for success. With authorization via the charter or approved project overview statement, the project manager begins the activities of project planning. If you check these LMS, we have discussed project charter extensively. So because of time, let's not go over it. Mr. Toya Jani, have you even gotten access to the LMS?
No.
That is not possible. So you mean you don't have access to LMS and you have not complained all the while? Oh, that's very strange. Anyway,
Look at how the stuff it are doing.
agile ceremonies. There are different agile ceremonies. We've discussed, I'm going to skip this. We've discussed these agile ceremonies. Sprint planning, daily stand-up, or daily scrum, sprint review, sprint retrospective. We've discussed all of this before now. So, but these things we are rediscussing this now because all of these agile ceremonies and other documents like the project charter, they are all there to be able to ensure that the goal, the central idea of the project is documented and shared, and all the stakeholders are working to the same version of what is going on. That's the purpose of all of these documents. So they are all in the direction of achieving shared understanding of the project. So kickoff meeting, that's another thing you do because you want everybody to have a shared understanding of the project. You discuss the purpose of the project, establish project context, assist with information, ensure project alignment to the overall project vision. So activities during kickoff may include defining vision statements, defining your team charter, assisting the customer or the product owner with the following: user story writing, estimation of effort, prioritization, planning, initial backlog, product backlog. Initial startup activities is often sprint 0. Initial startup activities is often sprint 0. The first sprint that you use to even set up the team, set up the project, and then have some the foundation for the project should be set. So they are talking about user story writing, talking about estimation of efforts, planning, essentially planning the project. So there's something called T-shaped skill. The top of the T is for the breadth of knowledge. Then the stem of the T is for the depth of knowledge. So as much as possible, you want to balance both, of course, as required for the role you want to play. So agile teams invest in becoming cross-functional by leveraging all team members to help accomplish the team goals. It improves team efficiency, more likely to achieve objectives. Because I want us to finish on time, that's why I'm just reading. Don't worry, we're almost
Quick
done.
question, sir.
All right.
What's XP?
What is what?
XP.
Extreme programming.
Oh, extreme programming. I saw it when you showed deliverables the other time.
Yes. Have you seen it here? XP metaphor.
Yes. Okay,
Extreme
programming
programming.
metaphor.
Yes, it's a common vision of how program works. Yes, we'll get there. We'll discuss that shortly. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so
This is not, sorry, this is not specific to the IT industry, because I see it as a deliverable
again, please.
of this. Ed is sitting on that deliverable for this task, but it's sounding, the definition is sounding like, I mean, wrong.
No.
Like
It's not programming of coding. No, it's not programming of coding.
I don't know.
I'm telling you that it's not programming of coding. Look at the third point here. It enables on one to understand the overarching approach that is being taken to provide a capability or to solve a problem. That's what is called XP metaphor. It's not something that is particularly about what do you call it? About it's not about programming like that. You know.
Okay, sir.
Let me read from something on extreme programming. XP, extreme programming, is based on frequent iteration through which the developers implement user stories. On the basis of user stories, the project team proposes metaphors. Metaphors are a common vision, notes. Metaphors are a common vision of how system would work. So the development team may decide to build a spike for some feature. Extreme programming system metaphor is a practice that is used by XP developers to replace the standard project architecture used in standard software development methodologies. That is why XP programmers use metaphor to call them. Okay. What is a system metaphor? XP uses metaphors to unify an architecture and provide naming conventions. A simple shared story of how the system works is a metaphor. A simple shared story of how the system works is called a metaphor. So do you understand how this is related to building shared understanding? Madam Oluwaseyi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you now understand how it is related to building shared understanding?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. So iteration planning. Iteration planning is a collaborative agile ceremony, sometimes called sprint planning. Sometimes called sprint planning for the team and customer representative. What do you do here? You ask questions. You review the highest prioritized user stories. You come to an agreement on which stories the team forecast it will complete in the iteration. Remember, we discussed sprint planning in before the sprint, not sprint review, coming after the sprint. So after agreement, the team determines which activities are required to develop to deliver the team iteration objectives. All of these things we are discussing are part of the various activities that can help you to build a shared understanding of the project. So task board, this is just an example of task board. This board you see here is called a Kanban board. There are different types of task boards in which you have columns that are for different states or status. In this case now you have 3: to do, work in progress, and done. So this is a task board. This one too It's an example of what they call information radiators. They are used to ensure people are on the same page. In short, to build shared understanding. Okay? Consensus is a decision-making process used by a group to reach a decision that everyone can support. There are different types: fist of five, Roman voting, polling, dot voting. You can read this up in the manual. So estimation techniques, t-shirt sizing, story pointing, playing poker. You can read this up in the manual. Okay. Product box exercise. Mr. Mohammed, do you mind reading this to us? Hello, Mr. Mohammed, are you there? Mr. Muhammad, are you there? What is slow?
Box brainstorming. Product box exercise is a technique used to explain an overarching solution. 2. Stakeholders try to describe aspects of the solution in the same way a marketer might describe product features and benefits on a box. Third point, helps with understanding 1. Different types of users of a solution. 2. Different priorities and likes/dislikes. Thirdly, key aspects of a solution that drive the most critical value aspects.
Correct. So brainstorming is a simple technique used to generate a list of ideas. It is led by a facilitator, and the group tends to be a group of stakeholders, team members, or subject matter experts. After quickly generating a list of alternatives, the group analyzes the alternatives and chooses one. So, Mr. Toya Jani, are you still with us?
Yes, yes, yes.
Please read this slide to us, if you don't mind.
Guidelines to reach consensus and support the outcome of the parties agreement. Having a team charter is enormously helpful here, as it may specify how we as a team choose to handle certain scenarios and disagreements when they arise. For example, if team members disagree about number of story points to estimate for a user story. I was about to use story. The team charter may designate that the team use the high estimate or that majority vote rule. In general, it is preferable to seek consensus among the team where possible, and to recognize that sometimes it will not be possible. But those times when consensus is not possible, it is helpful to have an agreed upon approach in advance.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So at this point, we have come to the end of the lesson. We have come to the end of the lesson. Mr. Mohammed, look at question 1. Look at question 1 on the slide. What do you think?
Why do you think it's important to identify and document the project's stakeholders? Well, important to identify them, because if you don't identify them, get resources, and more importantly, manage them accordingly. That is, manage the stakeholders accordingly.
Okay.
Then when it comes to it, only when we identify something, I can look at what connects and either affects the project or perceived to affect the project.
Okay.
Then, based on that, we can be able to carry them along as necessary throughout the project phase.
Okay. You are breaking, Oga.
Now, I'm done.
Okay. 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 All right. Let's just end the class now. I think you have tried. The concentration has dropped. So let's just go ahead and go and rest. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night. Mr. Muhammad, good night.
Now, thanks for the time and